All right, this is the blanket so far. We're joining as we go, and you can see that they are joined at the point of the flower, the centre between the flowers, the point of the flower, the centre between the flower, the point of the flower, the centre between the flower and the point of the flower. So all we need to do is we pick up the next one. We'll start to crochet around it, figure out where our points need to touch. I'll pop that here so we can see. So we figure out where our points need to touch. So this point of this petal, there's your point. So these two points will be slip stitched together. Where this long double crochet is and where it corresponds there, this will be slip stitched here. So you can see where it's going to slip stitch. So if you were right on the corner, you might find that you only have to do one side. So it just depends on where it is you're placing your flower, will depend on how many times you have to slip stitch it. So I'll just start this flower off so that we can see how the outside border goes. I'm just going to, so it starts off in this one, this is your long double crochet and this is the stitch that corresponds to it. So we're actually going to start in the stitch next to it. So you can join it in and do 3 chain, or you can do a standing treble like I'm doing here, and to get it started. And then we're going to do 2 more trebles beside those, one in each the next 2 double crochets. So that's 1, 2. So now we're at the point of our flower. So when we get to the point of our flower, this should have 1 treble, 1 chain and 1 treble. So that's the point of your flower. So I'm just going to do around to the next point just so you can see how the flower is without it being joined. So 1 treble in each of the next 3. That's 1, and I've caught, that is 2, and that's 3. So the last one should end up beside this long double crochet. So then we're going to do 1 chain. We're going to miss this stitch that the 1 double crochet corresponds to, and we're going to do exactly as we did with the other petal. We're going to do 3 trebles side by side. There we go, 1, 2, 3. And this one is the point of the petal. So we're going to put 1 treble in here. It should be 1 treble, 1 chain, 1 treble. But what we're going to do is going to do our 1 treble. We're not going to do our chain. And we are going to, I'm going to slip that one in here. So we're going to do our slip stitch here instead of our chain. So the slip stitch, the easiest way to do a slip stitch is to hold your yarn behind your hook. So the point of that you should be able to see from the back. There's your treble, chain, treble. We're just going to stick our hook in there, draw it through and through. That's your slip stitch. So we're slipping instead of a chain. Then we're going to do the next treble into here, which it would have been if we hadn't have joined anyway, because the point of the flower has 1 treble, 1 chain, 1 treble. And in this case it has 1 treble, 1 slip stitch, 1 treble. We're going to do the next 3 trebles side by side, just like we have for the other petal. 1, 2, 3. And previously over here we did 1 chain to jump across here. Instead of that we're going to do a slip stitch. So our slip stitch will correspond. So we'll just poke it in the back and slip stitch it through. We're going to miss this one the same as we did before, and we're going to do the next treble into here, which is the start of the next petal again. So 1 treble, 2 trebles, 3 trebles. There we go. Now our 4th one, which is half of this center, so treble chain treble, but in this case treble slip stitch treble. It's going to end up, we need to jab it into that joint there. So we're going to hold our yarn to the back, jab it into the joint, yarn through and through, and then we're going to do our next treble in the same place, which gives us that point of the flower. And we're just going to continue around this flower as we just have, and we can put it down and check to see where it's going to touch next. So the next place it's going to touch is here, here, here. That'll be the last one, and then we'll just complete the round, putting our chains in instead of our slip stitch where it needs to be here. So that's all there is to the joining. It's quite simple. So everywhere around this round that would have been a chain becomes a slip stitch into the corresponding daisy. So I'll just finish this one, and then I'll just show you the last couple of stitches and joining it together down here. Okay, well, I'm just going to show you this where it goes in this joint one more time. So that's your joint there between the flowers. We're actually going to poke it from the other side into that joint. So I've done my 3 trebles. This is the point of the flower. 1 treble here, which has just fallen out, so I'll redo that. Okay, 1 treble into the point of the flower. Instead of our chain. Okay, so I'll just turn it over so we can see the back. Into the joint. So now we should have our daisy is intersecting in 3 places in there. So we'll just complete this treble. Sorry, I'm going to get organised. Complete this treble. Hopefully we can see that. So that treble back into the same place. And 1, 2, 3. That's 2, 3. So this is our long double crochet, so we have to do a slip stitch. So here's your corresponding daisy. There's our corresponding daisy there. Slip stitch, so hold your yarn behind your hook, slip stitch into there, and then go on to your next petal. So we've just got a few stitches to go before we can finish this round. 1, 2, 3. When you hurry, it is harder. Okay, there we go. So this one is the point, so 1 treble, 1 slip stitch. Now let's see if we can see this. So this here, the light's not very good. This here, when you have a look at the back of this, you can just see treble chain treble, and that's where you need to be working into your slip stitch. So our slip stitch into there, slip stitch, and then your last treble into there. So now if we hold that flat, there's no more places to correspond. So all we need to do now is complete the rest of this round and join into here with a slip stitch, and that daisy is done. So here is the partially done blanket, all joined as we go. My suggestion is to make all of your little daisies first, and then lay them out in an order that you're happy with. We've done a completely random design here. There are some 2 same colours together. In some cases there's 3 together. The best thing to do is to make all of your daisies first and lay them out. You might be someone that prefers to make a pattern. You know, there's plenty of options on which way you can place all these little daisies. If you wanted to be different, you don't have to have 3 outside colours. So we've got a dark, a medium and a light, and then we've alternated our centres. We haven't put the lilac into the pink because there wasn't enough variation, and we've put the green as a uniform colour around them all. But if you wanted to be more uniform, you could just have 2 daisy colours with alternating centres. It's completely up to you how you tackle this, but the best thing is that it's join as you go. So if you were doing something uniform, then you could join as you go. But because we've done random, we've made all our little daisies first and then joined them with the same colour all at once. It's actually been quite pleasant just sitting here joining daisies. It's been quite nice actually. I have periodically sewn my ends in. There's the back. At the moment I've been working down this end, and you can see I haven't sewn my ends in here. Each night I'll stitch some daisies on, and then I'll do my ends, so that when I'm done I've only got a few ends left. But I've only got a few more to go now before this is done, and it feels nice. The cedar, which fiddlestick cedar, is really nice to work with. Doesn't split. It's really soft and smooth to work with, and has been lovely yarn. It's a 4-ply. This blanket still has a fair amount of weight in it. It's still fairly dense, so it's actually quite warm for something that's, you know, cotton and bamboo. But it certainly has been quite a pleasant little blanket to make, and really not that difficult. And if you can learn how to join as you go, you will love putting this together, because that tends to be the bane of people's existence, sewing things together. So this has got no sewing at all. So that is how to crochet around our little daisy.